Osio Dohiju, hey, welcome back. So today I'm going to talk to you about the Adobe Premiere project that I've used for a few years now. It was created by Vashi who edited Deadpool, and he released his template for free. So if you go to Vashi Visuals, and I'll put the link in the description below, you can download his Adobe Premiere project. Now, I watched an episode by Not Ian Sands on how to use PostHaste, and I added some of my own tweaks to it. So we're also going to cover that because my modified version of Vashi's project is inside my PostHaste project itself. So to download PostHaste, go to digitalrebellion.com/posthaste, and I'll put the description below, and then you download it. Now, what PostHaste does is it allows you to set up your own templates for your own projects. In this case, I have my After Effects. I modified this from the video editing template. See how few projects folders there are in here. I modified this because I have a bunch of stuff. For example, when I have my media here, I film on an FX7, a GoPro, an iPhone, and a Crosstour or a Nikon, but the GoPro is a Crosstour version. It's okay. Then I have my Photoshop templates, my production templates, and a screenplay or a script. So if somebody has a script that they're wanting to use, no matter what the format is, even if it's not screenplay format, it could just be a Word document that says, here's what they're saying and here's what kind of shot I want introduced here. It doesn't really matter. None of that is important. And then my template for my Adobe Premiere project. Now, you'll also notice that in Adobe Premiere, this folder here, there's a template for the Adobe Premiere project. There's also one for the Photoshop template. I also have one for Illustrator. Now, each one of these does something different for me. After Effects obviously contains all of the After Effects stuff, including models, the renders, and the textures. If there are any approvals that are needed, let's say you've made something and it has an approval that's needed. Audio includes the mixes, music, production, sound effects, and any voiceovers. The delivery, or it should have said dest, but distribution, I guess, is really what it is. I altered this one. In any case, this is where I put my final exported cuts. So when I recently did the video for Havoc by Stereo Spread, this was where my export goes to. And then when you make a DVD from that, whether you're using Encore or whatever, that goes here. Anything from the client. So if the client sends you anything, then it would go in this folder. Obviously any Illustrator, and then media, there's exported here. Sometimes I pre-render or I export portions. So if a clip is done, I'll export a whole portion of it and then I'll lay that in my timeline over the top, and then I don't have to, then when I'm exporting it won't re-render all of that because it's already done. Obviously my raw, any photos that are raw from the GoPro, iPhone, or the Nikon, and to be honest, I don't use any GoPro photos because I have my other two cameras usually running, and then the rest of these are self-explanatory. So what you do at this point is it starts off at 1. I have a 5. You come up with your editor, and then what the date is, and you can alter all of these. And then I'm going to create my project, and I'm going to put it right here in my this happens to be my project folder, so I'm going to create this new project in there, and it creates all of those directories and everything for you, and then it will open them up just like this. So now you have all of the stuff that we just talked about is in each one of these directories. With the Vashi Premiere project, if you open it in CC 2019, it will ask you if you want to convert from the original to the 2019, And the answer is yes. It'll just put an _1 after it. You can rename it to whatever you want. I've already done that right here. What I like about PostHaste is that it gives you the number and then your temp project. And as you can see over here, I have some other projects in here, building a workspace. This particular video, I already created the PostHaste for it, and then this temp project. So in this temp project, we'll go ahead and open that up, and then I'll show you a little bit about this. And Vashi did a great job. This is actually made for 2 monitors. I have used it on 1 monitor for a while now, and then I just hooked up my 2nd monitor, and I use it that way as well. I'm going to cover better touch tool later, but what I have is multiple keyboards. One of them has some individual macros, like if I hit F1, then it will open up the program. Number 2, F2 is the timeline, F3 is effect controls, and so on. I've created my own macros. So what you'll usually see when this project opens is you'll see 2 different views like this. Here's the project and the timeline, and then over here is your project folder, your media browser, which I use a lot. I use the media browser a lot. Your info history, but then over here you have your effects controls, lumetri scopes, which I use quite often as well for color correction and color grading. And then you can see that when I hit when I do F1, it's not working for some reason. In any case, so what I want to do right now is I'm going to show you this on one particular view. So what I did was I went to Window and then Workspaces and All Panels, and that will just show you every panel available in the same workspace. All of the stuff that was in the 2nd window is over here or right here or up here. In this particular panel, you'll see Essential Graphics, where the other one it didn't have it. Everything else in here is virtually identical to your regular project. So down here you have your sequences, your raw media, your titles, and all of that kind of thing. And all I do at this point is my raw media, and I may create bins for these. Usually in my raw media, I just need it separated on disk so I remember where it came from. I don't need it separated in the timeline or the project, or the project more than the timeline, but I don't need it separated in the project, so I don't have bins for those. I could just as easily create a bin here for GoPro, and then one for Nikon, that kind of thing. I didn't do that here. I wanted to leave that up to the user to determine theirs. What I usually do is I just import in my raw media into here. Sometimes I do it by bin, sometimes I don't. It doesn't really matter. There are two timelines in here. This one is selects, and it is I believe 24. Yeah, it's 24 frames per second, 23,976. The other one, which is main, which is the one that's exported usually, is 60 frames, and that's exactly what I use. The way to switch between, this is an Adobe shortcut that you may not have known about if you're new to Adobe Premiere. If you do Shift and then the tilde key, it will open that particular pane. If you hover over, say, the program and you hit the tilde key, it will open whatever your cursor is over. So over here, I move my cursor over, and then if I select this one, then I hit the Shift tilde, but my cursor, you can see my cursor's way up here, then it will open my timeline. It's just a quick tip. I use a lot of shortcuts when I edit. Other than that, there isn't anything else to really talk about with this. I will be covering several other of Vashi's enhancements to Adobe Premiere and Adobe After Effects. This one I just wanted to get you to be able to see it and understand what it does. So if you have any questions about anything that I talked about or I missed anything, please comment below. Until next time, do-do-do-go-e.